Hi, I'm Dave Empson, and I just can't tell you how much I love this convention. It was in 1996 that Doug Lucas came to Hazelwood. He was president that year in Lexington, and challenged our missions committee and me as a youth minister to bring our teens to the Lexington convention. And we did, and loved it. We'd been on several mission trips for years in Hazelwood with the teens. And I was looking for a place for my kids to dream about where they could go in the future and to rub elbows with missionaries and see the world of need that's going on. So we were there and had a great time, and yet I was wanting to see more opportunities for my teens to rub elbows with missionaries. The exhibit hall is great, but just more on purpose, intentional ways of doing that. So I wrote him an email, which I never should have done because it only gave me more work to do. And so he said, well, how about when we come back in Cincinnati in 1998, you show me what you want to do. And of course, the rest is kind of history. But I went to the 97 conference in Tulsa. Tom Schneller was the president. And it was there that I heard this overriding prediction that we would lose half our missionaries by the year 2007. And I just couldn't understand that. I couldn't fathom what that would do to the kingdom of God. And then I got to thinking of all the hundreds of teens, thousands of teens that go on mission trips every year. The bells and the whistles went off in my head. I knew where the replacements were. I knew where the next army of workers for the kingdom was going to come from. It's from our youth and our college students. And Charles Littell came to me. Well, Charles and I go back a bit because he is a native of Hazelwood, where I was youth minister for 14 years. So we'd known each other several times and seen each other and talked, and he came up to me half crying because, I don't know if you're familiar with this, but he lost his son, Matt, to a Jeep accident as he was grooming Matt to take over the mission. And so Charles was kind of at a loss, as wondering who's going to take over my lifelong work, and since my son is gone. And he came up to me half teary-eyed and said, David, thank you so much. After Matt had been gone, I didn't know who was going to take over. I didn't know who was going to take over this work that I had started and that we'd built up and the Lord had used. But when I looked over at that vast sea of young people jumping for the Lord and singing and praise and worship and being here amongst us missionaries, that, I saw that my work was not going to be in vain. Someone would come along after me and take up the banner that I'd started way back when. And we had a wonderful, joyful moment. It just gave me great pleasure to see Charles feel at peace about what he had done, knowing that it would carry on. We at the Missionary Convention so cherish the presence and the attendance of our teens in our college age. And we want to make you know that. We want you to be aware of that, because you are important in the kingdom of God. It is our prayer that you would follow and find what God would have you do with your life. We don't want everyone to become a missionary, because that's not our God's will, but maybe our will. But we hope and pray that you think sincerely, God, what would you have me do? How am I gifted? How am I talented? And where in the world can you use me? And that you think about that seriously as you go through these important years of your life. And I hope and pray that you'll come back to the Missionary Convention.